You're trying to do your podcast. You want to push your podcast out. Does everybody know about your podcast? Do people tune into your podcast? Do you believe in your own podcast? Do you watch your own podcast? I know me, I watch my own podcast when I run it back because I'm like, okay, what can I do that can be better? So then that way I could better serve people, give out clear, concise information. I'm going to be honest with you. You look at a lot of my podcasts, you're going to hear me say, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Uh, 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 that's things that I'm working on. But are you doing that? Are you taking notes? My answer to you is no, you're not doing that.
Try to live well and prosper. Don't trust your doctor. Ruthless with my wordplay. No, I'm not a shotter, but I got them hits, man, coming straight out the barrio. That's why I'm hip hop sicario. I like my privacy. I show out every now and
Everyone, and welcome back to the Rolo Runs the City podcast. I am your host, Rolo, and I am glad to be back with you guys for another week. And man, it has been a hectic one, but of course, we all go through our pain. But anyway, we're going to get started with this episode after we go over our particulars, which of course, you can hit me up all on the socials at Rolo Runs the City, at Rolo Runs the City podcast, or at Rolo Runs the City music on Instagram and Facebook. Don't forget RoloRunsTheCity.com. All things Rolo. I am there. I'm on TikTok at RoloRunsTheCity_ as well as X at Rolo Runs the City. And if you go ahead and you look me up on the YouTube under Rolo Runs the City, you either get the podcast or you get the music. Feel free to check out both. And I'm not sure if it covers it all, but I think that's good for now. Anyway, I wanted to talk to you guys about this subject. And the reason why I wanted to go over this was because these are thoughts that actually happen in my head. Okay. And of course, all of the thoughts that happen in my head, I try to convey in this podcast, but some things are just more, stand out more than anything else. And this was something that really stood out to me. And it's a question that I had just been pondering all week. As you guys all know, all of us are trying to level up any way that we can. Even if you think that you're not trying to level up at all, you absolutely are. There's ways you're trying to figure out shortcuts on how to get something done and be a little bit more productive, or hell, for the lazy asses, you're trying to figure out ways where you can get out of some stuff, still make your money, and continue to be a little bit more lazy. So, you may be productive on the other end of just trying to enhance your laziness, but it doesn't mean that you're not putting any thought to enhancing that avenue of your life. It is what it is, man. And I'm not knocking anybody for it. The life that you choose is the life you live. And if that's the life that you're choosing, then so be it. But I definitely wanted to bring this up. And I just thought it was something that was absolutely important. And the reason why I say this is because many of us are trying to be productive, level up in any way that we can, but do you ever feel like it's enough? And I wanted to bring this up because I know there's times that I'm sitting here, I could either be writing the next episode of my podcast, or I could be trying to come up with the next song for some music that I want to release in the near future, or look into my investment portfolio and look at what things are dropping, what can be a sleeper and possibly, reap much dividends later on down the line. Things like that. I'm always contemplating, am I doing enough? Even with my working out, with my lifestyle choices, my diet, am I doing enough? And I'm going to be honest with you. And I'm going to be honest with all of you. And I'm going to tell you your truth as well as mine. So you guys are probably thinking like, damn, you're going to tell me my truth? Who the hell are you? You don't even know who the hell I am. I'm going to be very honest with you. No one is in this earth, not even these quote unquote high performers, are not living up to their potential. They're really not. I like to listen to podcasts, audio podcasts, Obviously, I listen to many podcasts in a wide range, whether if it's finances, health and wellness, personal professional development, things of that nature. I'm all in on that. And I'll get on YouTube sometimes and I'll listen to old seminars from Jim Rohn, right? Who he points something out that's so profound about how an animal will do everything he can to reach his apex or her apex. And a tree is going to grow as tall as it can possibly can because it only knows one way, and that's to grow. Okay. And us as humans in this society, all of us, not majority, not some, not just a few, all of us do not ever reach our maximum potential. If we absolutely did, we would live in a perfect world, and we know that we're far from perfect. There's only one entity that has been perfect that's walked this earth, and he goes by the name of Jesus Christ, Yeshua, Jehovah, Dios, whatever you want to call them, right? I'm a believer, so that's my faith, and that's, of course, what I'm going to point to as perfection. But let's just be quite honest. Nobody is living up to their potential. I don't care if you're a billionaire. I don't care if you're close to being a trillionaire. I don't care if you have 12-pack abs. Maybe you can possibly get 14. Who knows? I'm just saying, spitballing here real quick, but it's absolutely true. A lot of us, all of us, are not truly living up to our full potential. If we were, this world would be a much better place. And I'm not trying to sound all hokey, tree hugging, things of that nature, but obviously this world is riddled in war. Obesity is not an epidemic, it's actually a pandemic, because worldwide there are many issues of obesity, especially in the United States. Now, some of you guys will try to come back and fight back and say, oh, well, in Asia, it's not like that. And look, I was stationed in Southeast Asia, and I've seen plenty of obese people of Asian descent. Okay. Not sure what's going on. A lot of people say it's a manipulation of the food, living sedentary lifestyles, addicted to vices, whatever it is, right? But like I said, to me, that's the real pandemic, because it's killing people, right? And many of us do not have our financial house in order. Even if we had, and it's amazing because the majority of the people that are walking around don't even have $500 in their savings account. It's unfortunate. And it's not that a lot of them don't have access to capital, but it's the fact that we don't have, I say this all the time, we don't have a money problem, we have a discipline problem. Now, are there people that are, dealing with real financial hardships? Absolutely. I mean, there's people that absolutely need help. I totally get that, but everything starts and it ends with you. Okay. And I even say it about myself. I'm not doing enough. And I don't say that to be bragging that, oh, I can do more. Oh, he must be doing a lot. No, like I can do a lot more. I just haven't done it. And there's people that I get inspired by. Obviously, for anybody who knows me, I coach in the Miracle League, which is a special needs adaptive baseball league. And if there's anybody that I've seen that gives 120, 150%, are the players that I'm surrounded by, because they only have one gear, and it's go. And unfortunately, for many of us, quote unquote, regular folks, we end up with paralysis by analysis. We could go on our phone and check our social media real quick, and next thing you know, 3 hours went by and we done doom scrolled. And it absolutely happens. And I always think to myself, damn, Rolo, are you doing enough? And to be honest with you, no. Like, I could do a lot more professionally in reference to my podcast. I can further my podcast better than what I'm doing right now. Okay. My music. Could my music reach its apex? Absolutely. But who's stopping that from reaching its apex? It's not outside entities, it's me at the end of the day, right? My investment portfolio. Could it look a bit more diversified? Absolutely. Should I put all my eggs in one basket? They recommend you shouldn't, which is absolutely true because the basket drops, the eggs crack, they're all on the ground, and you have nothing. So do with that information what you will, right? And, in reference to my health and wellness, am I doing everything that I can to maximize myself? I don't think I am. Um, I'm going to be honest with you. There's many of you guys that, and it works for many people. They're like, hey, man, you go with the 80-20 rule, 80%, be on the clean side and, you allow yourself 20%, allow yourself some grace. And I don't combat that. I don't disagree with that. But with many people in today's society, in the participation trophy era society, they feel because they've done great for a couple of days, they allow themselves that reward. Like they've equated a couple days as if they had a couple months worth of great health building. And they didn't. It's like, oh man, I ate clean for 2 days. Man, I'm going to Ruth Chris. And I'm just going to ball out and eat everything. And I could tell you like this, I'm a victim of that as well. And I don't mean like, oh, I'm pegging myself as a victim. I'm just saying like, there's things that I indulge in, right? And there's many people that go through this. And it's a never-ending cycle. And it's something that's hard to break. I will tell you that. It really is. But sometimes you just have to get tired of your own BS. And I'm going to be honest with you. I get tired of mine. Like, could my body look better? Absolutely. My body's going to look better through consistent effort and through rigorous diet. And it's not so much diet like, oh, I'm on a diet. Like, no, it's like the lifestyle change needs to occur. Like, you need to be eating whole foods. You need to let go of the damn donuts. You need to stop eating out so damn much. And you need to, because at the end of the day, I mean, look, and I say this all the time, you're not getting a concierge service whenever you're going out to eat at any place. But you can give yourself a concierge service at home where you're eating with healthy oils, extra virgin olive oil, and eating whole foods that are absolutely benefiting your cause. You go to these fast food places, or you even go to some of these restaurants, man, like Chili's, whatever, like any of these places, they're not cooking with olive oil and all this other stuff. They're frying all their food in vegetable oil, canola oil, all the cheapest stuff that they can actually produce. So then that way they can maximize their bottom line. Hey, and that's just the way things work. Movie industry. Somebody's making $150, $200 million movie. They're expecting to go ahead and absolutely gross 2 to 2.5 billion on the damn movie. Okay. Which is going to put them where they need to be, where they're making $800 million to $1 billion or even more than that. You know what I mean? I mean, you do the math, So that's just what people do. Like they want to go ahead and give you as little as they can give you for the most max amount. So then that way their bottom line's healthy. They're doing what they're supposed to do. And whatever happens with you, then so be it. You're the customer. So a lot of these guys are feeding off of their customers like no different than vampires. You know what I mean? And that's the problem with society. The problem is we have too much trust and thinking that people have our best interest. So for me, I'm like, I know these fast food places don't have my better interest in mind. All they're about is giving you the most cheapest product, dress it up, make it look nice, and just give out what they give and make the max out of what they've just sold you. That's the model, right? People that work there, they're not making anything compared to what that restaurant is making. It is what it is, right? But I know this may sound like it's all over the place, right? But I'm just being real. Like, I feel like I could do more in all aspects of my life. So if I'm feeling like that, so what do you think about you? What do you think about what you're doing? Do you feel that you can give more effort, that you can give a maximum effort that's actually going on in your life? Like, if you're trying to build that business, are you really going hard at that business? Or are you just saying, "Oh, I got me a little LLC, I'm making that happen. I'm doing my taxes and I'm trying to apply for these grants and I'm trying to get this business account and I'm trying to get this business loan." And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm just going to be flat out honest with you. The worst thing that many of you guys that are not business savvy to do is mess with OPM, which is other people's money. A lot of people will tell you, man, you know what? You need to leverage that, man. You go ahead and borrow somebody else's money. So then that way you can do what you got to do. You no longer have a problem because you borrow somebody else's money. We have a problem. Don't buy into that ideology. I remember, I forgot what interview I was watching, but it made complete sense. It was from a billionaire. I'm thinking that is Mark Cuban. I'm not sure, which is, I'm not sure if he's still the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, or he may be not the majority owner, but still in the ownership group. But I remember, I believe it was him that said that you would be an idiot, which is funny because he's on Shark Tank, right? But he say you would be an idiot to go ahead and start your business by taking on investors or taking out a business loan, which is absolutely funny because that's what he does in Shark Tank, right? Like, he's like, okay, well, I want 10% equity and of your stake, and I want a 5% royalty on whatever product is being sold, and I'm going to give you a loan for $250,000, and that loan has to be paid within 3 years. Like, normally he's doing things like that, right? Which is absolutely hilarious because it goes against all of his business principles in reference to what he applies for himself, right? So that, to me, that's one of the main things that I'm like, don't take on debt you can't handle. And then right away, people, and to me, this is just like a moral thing, right? You got many businesses that want to do that. They're like, oh, okay, we'll take on investors, do this and that. And the next thing you know, they're like, oh, well, we got to file for bankruptcy. No big deal, because at the end of the day, yeah, you wipe the slate clean, but you lose some money and your business may falter, but you live to die another day. But all those investors are asked out because obviously they put money into your company and now they're no longer getting anything on their ROI, right? And this is a cycle that happens over and over and over again. I know I kind of like sound like I'm all over the place, but for me, I'm like, that's not a good deal. And that's just another aspect of, are you really giving it your all? Or are you just trying to leverage? So then that way you can say, oh, well, I'm just, leveraging what I have, or I'm delegating this, or I'm doing that. That's all fine and well when you're trying to do everything that's operational to maximize what you got going on. But are you absolutely maximizing what you are doing? And I will have to say 100% of you are not. I'm not. You're not. Damn, Jeff Bezos is not. Any of these other billionaire moguls are not maximizing anything. Okay. And some people are going to say, man, but that's kind of harsh. So-and-so, he's got more money than you, and he's doing this and he's doing that. Or he's got further reach than you. So who are you to say, no, you're not? You're not. You're not. You're not putting in the work the way you need to put it in. Okay. I know I'm not putting in the work that I need to put in. And I think that I'm working hard, but I'm not scratching the surface compared to what I know that I can actually do. And that goes for anybody else as well. You know what I mean? And people say, oh, well, but that's what you're supposed to do when you're the owner and you can actually, you're no longer working inside of the business and you let the business run on its own. It's like, yeah, but you can still put in some sweat equity when it comes into furthering your message, expanding to the masses, making the most maximum effort on your part. And many people don't do that. That's why, you see like people like, I'm not saying like, I'm not going to say, oh, I'm an entrepreneur. And dude, people that say that, first of all, they're not making any money. Okay. They don't have any working capital. They don't have an operational budget. They don't have a program budget. And overall, they don't have a budget, period. Okay. And truth of the matter is they're still trying to work into a business that they're making zero profit. Okay. And many of these folks, they're out here lying on YouTube, lying on Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, wherever they at to try to sell you a dream. You think they're working hard. They're not working hard. Okay. Like I said, if everybody put their maximum effort, this world will be a hell of a lot better place. Okay. When it comes to your fitness, what body fat are you sitting at? You sitting at 27%? You sitting at 22%? You sitting at 18%? Hell, you could always do a little bit more. If you're sitting at 15, why don't you go try for 12? You're sitting at 12, why don't you go try for 8? 8 is not too healthy, right? But if this is what you're trying to do, and you're trying to be a professional bodybuilder or a competitor in reference to, I think it's, bodybuilding competitions, like there's always more that you can do, right? If you're a music artist and you want the world to hear your music, are you doing more for them to listen to your music? Are you coming up with great content? Are you still pushing out singles? Are you still pushing out albums? Are you still creating videos? Are you still putting content together? Are you still selling your backstory of how this album was created? Are you doing that? Are you doing that? Are you going absolutely hard? My answer to you is no, you're not, right? You're trying to do your podcast. You want to push your podcast out. Does everybody know about your podcast? Do people tune into your podcast? Do you believe in your own podcast? Do you watch your own podcast? I know me, I watch my own podcast when I run it back because I'm like, okay, what can I do that can be better? So then that way I could better serve people, give out clear, concise information. I'm going to be honest with you. You look at a lot of my podcasts, you're going to hear me say, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? That's things that I'm working on. But are you doing that? Are you taking notes? My answer to you is no, you're not doing that. Okay? With your finances. Do you really need 13 subscriptions of whatever the hell you have? Well, you have Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music. Hell, it's all streaming. Pick one. You got Prime, Netflix, Philo or Philo or Paramount, YouTube, TV, whatever. Dude, pick one. You don't need 15 different damn subscriptions of all this stuff. And why the hell you want to be that entertained anyway? Didn't you say you want to do something with your life? Are you maxing out? Are you absolutely putting out the max effort so then that way you can continue to peak? Look, you have to be at a point where you're peaking, where you're running on red, no different than a car that needs work with its radiator and you're running out of cooling and that thing's running hot and it can possibly break down on the side of the damn road. Are you running that hot? Some people will say that's not healthy. I'm going to say you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Some people will say endurance sports is not healthy. You know what's not healthy? Being an unhealthy ass, smoking cigarettes, drinking beer, eating the most unhealthiest stuff, and just sitting in the ICU and just drop dead because you can't even breathe. That's unhealthy. So I'm going to tell you like this, and I'm going to tell you like this. I'm going to tell you like this, man. There's a whole bunch of people that are so sensitive out here. People criticize me all the time. I take it, man. It is what it is. They want to tell me I sound like a dumbass. I sound like a jerk. Whatever. Right? But my thing is, I'm doing everything that I can to level up. Some of that stuff I know is hate. Some of that stuff I take it as critique. So then that way I can go ahead and do better. But since when has it been my job to protect your feelings? It's not. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear. If your ass is fat, then you're fat. Close your damn pie hole. People that are control freaks. There's only two things that you can control: how you move your body and what you put in your mouth. Everything else is free will. Control what you do. You can't control the world. Okay? There's many people out here that are walking around knowing that they could do more that they don't. I see social media, man. I see how I get a lot of like inspirational stories, and I guess that's because that's the way my algorithm is trained, right? Obviously, like I said, I'm an advocate for my special needs community. So I do get a lot of like special needs reels that come to my stuff. I see amputees. I see people that have spinal bifida. I see people that are just permanently just wheelchair bound, people with no arms, people that could be quadriplegics, and they're living out their best lives because they are playing the card that God gave them. Because like there's no do-over. They're like, I got to play with what I got. And some of you assholes, in fact, all you assholes out there are absolutely sitting on your hands, and then you want to go ahead and criticize folks or try to be funny or make fun of people that are less fortunate than you are, and you want to feel good about yourself at the end of the day. You're tearing down everybody else's damn building so you can have the tallest building. I don't think so. You want to have the tallest building, build the biggest skyscraper that you could build by go ahead, shut your mouth, and putting in the work. I'm seeing way too many lazy ass people in Walmart. Before, we used to see maybe 3, maybe 4 of those electric buggies. They probably got about 12 of them things right now at Walmart, and people fighting for them. Well, able-bodied people that can actually move their body, that can go ahead and get their own stuff, put in their own buggy, so that way they could go ahead and shop and check out their stuff. No, but they're all fighting to get a goddamn motorized cart. Bunch of lazy-ass people. And people may think, damn, this guy sounds a little bit disgruntled about, just what's going on in society. What I'm upset about is, if you think I'm mad, can you imagine what your creator thinks? He built you to be the best possible version of yourself that you could be, and you're not reaching that potential. You're not even scratching the surface on it. For the vast majority of people, they have 2 arms, they have 2 legs, great hands where they could put in work. And they're not doing it. And it's a damn shame. So I was talking to my wife earlier, and I was telling her, you know what? I'm looking forward to becoming the best version of myself. Because I know there's the way I think right now, but a lot of my actions don't match with my thoughts. So my actions are high up here, and my thoughts are high up there. Or shall I say, my actions are down here, and my thoughts are high. That's basically what I mean. So my apologies for the visual. But like I said, my thoughts are up here, but my actions are down here, and there's a far separation. Okay? But I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to meet that 2.0 version of myself. And that 2.0 version of myself, that's right here, and my 1.0, which is where I'm at right now, when we both meet, that dude's going to be like, dude, you're a bad mother lover. You're a real one to try to catch up with me. But if I can catch up with that version of myself or not, damn it, I'm going to die trying to try to get there. I recommend y'all do the same. When we're young, we have no choice but to just dream, imagine, create, because that's all there is when you have youth. Me, I wasn't as fortunate as many kids. I grew up poor. I grew up in public housing, and I didn't grow up under the greatest circumstances in reference to the parent that I had. Let's just be honest. Okay? So one thing that I wanted to ensure for my children, I said, They're going to grow up in a beautiful home. They're not going to be subjected to things I was subjected to. And I'm a damn sure make sure that I enhance myself the best way I can. One of the worst things that my mother ever told me growing up as a kid is she said, oh, well, I had to stop doing for myself so that way I can do for you guys. First of all, we were welfare babies. She didn't work. Okay. And I'm not saying this to knock her. May she rest in peace, because she's no longer here with us. She delegated her parenting to her soon-to-be husband, which she's the one that's supposed to be responsible for the two children that she had, right? So, wrong answer there. And on top of that, and I talked about this in past episodes, when we got into public housing, I mean, she was absolutely ecstatic. I'm talking about crying with tears of joy. Like if we just bought a huge 3,200 square foot single family home. All right, there's poverty. It is what it is. So, for me, I wanted to make sure that I did the opposite of what she did, but at the same time, I needed to be clear and concise of what I did want. It wasn't so much about what I didn't want, but what did I absolutely want? Okay, and like I said, she was an able-bodied individual, but a fixed mindset, which ultimately everything that she said that she had or didn't even have, she eventually brought into fruition. It made herself sick, and she took herself out, unfortunately. So I don't want that for people anymore. I'm damn sure not speaking that stuff into existence. The only thing that I'm speaking is health, wealth, prosperity, and the will to want to get things done. And like they say, the old saying, he who says he can and he who says he can't are both right. So I'm going to say that I can. I will do this. I will execute on this. I do have this. And that's what I want for everybody else. Everybody gets motivated. Everybody gets inspired when the timing is the way they want it. But when it sucks, when things have to get done, are you down to get it done? And I'm going to be honest with you. For me, I've been lacking. For you, I'm sure you've been lacking. But my recommendation to everybody that's listening to this podcast today is to get off your ass, put foot to ass, and get your ass to work. So, I know this sounded like, a verbal whooping today. And I absolutely appreciate you guys checking out my podcast, my past episodes, my content. I greatly appreciate you guys. I say this because when I leave this earth, I want this earth to be better than I found it. Because when I found this earth, when I came to this earth, it wasn't what it should have been for me or for any other kid that didn't grow up with a silver spoon in their mouth. I don't want that for people anymore. It's bad enough. I grew up as a kid listening to hip hop music, and all they did was glorify poor things. They glorified it. They glorified being poor because they were like, oh, you know what? Well, this is all we got, so let's just go ahead and do it. And then you see the little rich kids trying to mimic poverty when they're well off. Now, isn't that a damn oxymoron? When the poor kids are trying to live like you. So I always tell people all the time, they say, oh man, so you do music? It's like, yeah, I do. I do music. I don't consider myself a rapper or anything like that. I consider myself a musician. Do I create things called wealth rap? Absolutely. Should I go ahead and trademark that genre? Maybe I should, right? But I always say I'm here to do some wealth rap to educate those that don't know, to close the wealth gap. for people who are suffering through generational poverty. So it's all about giving people the opportunity, the will to win. And like I said, when I came to this place back in the very early 80s, it wasn't great. And there's a lot of disparity between social classes, and it doesn't need to be that way. Does it need to be communistic? No. Does capitalism need to be the enemy? No. Does socialism work? Hell no. Go ahead and ask the mayor of New York City, the Democratic Socialist. That's not working. Ask the dumbasses that voted for him because they wanted everything free. Evidently, somebody's got to pay for that. And all those 170,000 folks that are actually carrying the bill, they're all going to Texas, Florida, North Carolina. Hell, they're even losing folks to Connecticut, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, hell, even Massachusetts, because of the crap show that's going on with that city hall. But like I said, this isn't a politics episode, things of that nature. It just is what it is. You can't control those ideologies. You can't control what government officials want to do, but you can control your own narrative. Don't let nobody else write your story. Anyway, this is the end of my show for this week. This is Rolo Runs the City. And of course, like we close out all the time, baby, be the goat, never sheep, and don't sleep on your dreams. Peace.